an angel appeared to a barren woman with an impossible promise.
You will conceive and bear a son.
This child must never cut his hair, never drink wine. He belongs to God alone.
He shall begin to deliver Israel from the hand of the Philistines.
The angel said, then vanished into flame. The boy grew strong in the hill country of Zorah, marked from birth as different. The Spirit of the Lord began to stir him, long before he understood his own power. No one yet knew what that stirring would eventually cost him, or everyone around him. Grown now, Samson traveled to Timnah and saw a Philistine woman he wanted for a wife.
Is there no woman among our people?
His parents begged him to choose among his own people instead of Israel's enemies.
He is a foreigner, Samson. Samson, they will kill you if you go there.
Samson refused to listen. She is right in my eyes, he told them flatly. On the road to Timnah, a young lion suddenly roared and charged straight at him. The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon Samson with overwhelming, unstoppable force in that instant. He tore the lion apart with his bare hands as easily as tearing a young goat. Later, Samson passed the lion's carcass again and found a swarm of bees inside it. He scooped out the honey and ate it, sharing it freely with his unsuspecting parents. He told no one where the honey had truly come from, keeping the secret entirely. At his wedding feast, Samson offered 30 Philistine companions a riddle they could not refuse.
Out of the eater, something to eat. Out of the strong, something sweet. Let me now propound a riddle to you.
Answer it in 7 days, he said, or lose 30 fine linen garments to me.
Entice your husband to explain the riddle, or we will burn you and your father's house.
For days the men could not solve it, so they turned instead to Samson's new wife.
You only hate me. You do not love me. You have not told me the answer. Tell it to me, my lord.
She wept before Samson for 7 straight days until he finally gave her the answer. On the 7th day, the men gave Samson their answer just before the sun set. What is sweeter than honey? What is stronger than a lion? They asked him triumphantly.
What is sweeter than honey? And what is stronger than a lion?
Samson's eyes went cold. You plowed with my heifer, he said, and you will pay. The Spirit of the Lord rushed upon him again, fury replacing the calm he once had. He struck down 30 men of Ashkelon and stripped them for their fine garments. Burning with rage, Samson abandoned his bride entirely and returned alone to his father's house. When Samson returned for his wife, her father revealed she had been given to another man. This time I am innocent, Samson said, and this time my revenge is fully justified. He caught 300 foxes and tied a burning torch between each pair of tails. The foxes scattered through Philistine grain fields, vineyards, and olive groves, spreading fire everywhere they ran. In retaliation, the Philistines burned Samson's former wife and her father alive in their home.
Burn them both.
Samson struck them down in fury, then withdrew alone to hide inside a mountain cave. 3,000 men of Judah came to bind Samson and hand him over for peace. He allowed them to tie him with new ropes, trusting God completely in that moment. As Philistines rushed toward him shouting, the ropes melted away like burning flax on his arms. Samson grabbed the fresh jawbone of a donkey lying on the ground beside him.
Come meet ya!
With that single bone, he struck down 1,000 Philistine soldiers in one furious stand. Afterward, God split open a hollow rock, and water poured out to revive him. Samson judged Israel for 20 years, his legend growing larger with every passing season. In Gaza, he visited a woman for the night, and his enemies quietly surrounded the gate. They planned to kill him at dawn, certain this time he could not possibly escape. At midnight, Samson rose, walked calmly to the city gate, and ripped it from its posts. He hoisted the massive doors, bar and all, onto his own shoulders without hesitation. He carried them uphill, miles away, and left them there for all Gaza to see. In the valley of Sorek, Samson fell in love with a woman named Delilah. Philistine lords offered her a fortune in silver to learn the secret of his strength.
Find out where his great strength lies.
I will discover his secret.
Delilah accepted immediately and began asking Samson question after gentle, probing question each night. "Tell me what makes you so strong," Delilah asked softly, "and how you could be bound."
With seven fresh bowstrings.
Samson lied 3 separate times. Fresh bowstrings, new ropes, hair woven into a loom. Each time, Philistines ambushed him, and each time he snapped the trap apart with ease. "How can you say you love me when you keep lying about what makes you strong?" Delilah nagged him every single day.
How can you say you love me? How can you say you love me?
Until his very soul grew tired of living.
Where is your strength?
Finally, worn down completely, Samson told her the truth. His hair had never once been cut. Delilah lulled Samson to sleep on her lap, certain this time she finally had him.
Maid.
A man crept in and shaved his 7 locks of hair while he lay sleeping. Samson woke, thinking he was still strong, not realizing the Lord had already left him. The Philistines seized him, gouged out his eyes, and dragged him in bronze chains to Gaza. There, blind and humiliated, Samson was forced to grind grain like an animal in prison. But slowly, quietly, unnoticed by anyone watching him, his hair had already begun to grow. The Philistine lords gathered by the thousands inside Dagon's temple to celebrate and mock him. "Bring out Samson, let him entertain us," they laughed, pulling him between 2 massive pillars. Samson quietly asked the boy guiding him to let him feel the pillars holding the roof. "Lord, remember me," Samson prayed silently. "Strengthen me one final time before I die." He pushed against both pillars with everything he had left inside his broken body. The temple collapsed instantly, killing more Philistines in his death than in his entire life. Samson was chosen by God before he was even born, blessed with strength no army could match. Yet the greatest threat to his destiny was never a Philistine sword. It was his own heart. His story ends not in triumph, but in one final act of surrender, accomplishing more in his death than in all the years of his strength. If you found this story compelling, subscribe for more biblical history brought to life.